I need you all to do something. So here's slide number 1. I want you to go get a piece of paper, maybe a few sheets, a pen or pencil, a surface to write on, and come back. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to talk about things that don't relate to anything. So go and find and come back.
Okay.
Meanwhile,
I'm here. Got it already.
Mark Twain said famously, "I never let my schooling interfere with my education." And it occurred to me as I was putting this together that the Babes as a group, the SBE 40 as a group, has a lot of brain cells with a lot of things in them. And I thought it would be very interesting to find out who has the most brain cells and the most things in those brain cells. And so I came up with this idea of finding out who's the smartest member of the group. And what they will win, the person who ends up being the smartest person, will be a certificate, which I will give them physically when we have another physical Babes lunch or something like it. So is there anybody, well, obviously I can't see you, but I haven't muted you. So if you need more time to find pens and pencils, let me know. And otherwise, oh, here I'm entering. Here, Paul Black is coming late. There, Paul Black is coming in. So, pieces of paper, pens or pencils, a surface to write on. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions now. Don't want to freak you out. We only have an hour, and I'm actually going to start. I have a timer next to me here, which I am starting to time out 45 minutes. Here we go. I just hit it. So we're starting on 45 minutes. At the end of 45 minutes, we will stop. We will add up all the correct answers and things like that and find out who is the smartest member of the SBE Babes 40 so on group. And I have in this presentation, don't freak out, but I have 257 questions. I guarantee you we will not get to 257 questions. But that means I cannot run out of questions halfway through, which is fine. Virtually none of them have anything to do with stuff that I expect you to know. That's the whole point. I'm filtering here so that, I start with questions about people from Hollywood, for instance, which is not something that I would expect you to know. And you will have 5 to 10 seconds to write the answer down on your sheet of paper, which you now have in front of you, pen and pencil, and just write down a name or a couple of words or something. It doesn't have to be the entire answer. It doesn't have to be perfect. And of course, if you get the answer right, you get 1 point. I may give you more points for extra hard questions. If you need to stop, if something just is so confusing, just say stop and we will stop and discuss things. If you think I'm wrong, there, thank you, Mark. Now you are in control. Wonderful. So we might have a break if I get tired or you get tired or somebody gets tired. And you are on the honor system, so you're grading yourself. So honesty, I think most of you are incredibly honest. I know most of you very well. So I trust you to tell me how many points you have at the end. Okay. And the range of questions is all over the place: history, entertainment, popular culture, mathematics, science. Some questions are more trivial than others. Some are so trivial that I don't expect anybody to get the answer. So if you do, then you should get more points, of course. And I might even give you some clues along the way. In fact, you'll see as we get going that I ask you a question, write down your answer. If you don't have an answer, I'll give you a clue. Then you can write down the answer, and they're worth less and less points the more clues I give you. So let's begin. We are now beginning the actual thing. Okay. Archie Leach. You know who Archie Leach was? He was a famous movie star. That's, of course, not the name he used because that's not a terribly nice name to have if you're an actor in Hollywood. So if you've already written down the name of that actor, that's fine. But if you haven't, here's a clue for you. In the movie Arsenic and Old Lace, in which this actor appears, in the middle of that movie, he screams out Archie Leach, his actual name. So there's a very interesting clue for you. Now, between those two, can you write down who it is? And if you have written down Cary Grant, give yourself 1 point if it was after I gave you the clue. If you got it right after I put down Archie Leach, give yourself 2 points. And you see how this is going to work, so we keep on going. Now, Cary Grant was discovered by another person in Hollywood. You know who this person is, you can write down this person's name. But, of course, if you don't know who it is, I'll give you another clue here. It was a female movie star who discovered him and discovered quite a few other movie stars as well, but this was probably her most famous one. And so who discovered Cary Grant? Well, I'll give you another clue if you're still stuck.
I was going to guess Archie Bunker.
No, it's not Archie Bunker. But the interesting thing is this movie star also, the name of this movie star also meant a life preserver. Now, a lot of you will get this almost immediately. The name of a life preserver, which was the name of a movie star. And you would know that the answer to this is Mae West. And so the next section is who's Mae West's real name? What was her real name? Write down Mae West's real name.
You know,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Google can hardly keep up with you.
That's right, exactly. I'm going so fast that using your phone or anything else is just impossible. Her name was Mary Jane West, and I'll tell you this, that's so close to Mae West. It really is Mae West. If you wrote down Mae West, give yourself 2 points. If you wrote Mary Jane West, give yourself 2 points as well. Or Mary, or something like that. Now, so Mae West was an actress. It was also a life preserver. It's also one other thing. If you put Mae West in Google, for instance, you will get 3 unrelated answers: an actress, a life preserver, and one other thing. What is that other thing? If you write down something to do with the internet, give yourself 1 point. But it's more than that. Because there's also a Mae East. And if you know what Mae East and Mae West are, well, now we're talking about 3 points. 3 points, metropolitan area Ethernet West.
Do you get extra points if you can name the cities they're in? Mae East and West?
No, I didn't go that far. I thought this was hard enough. Okay, back to the actress Mae West. Once on the radio, she said, "We had a date last night, and I have the splinters to prove it." Who was she talking about?
Groucho.
No.
W.C. Fields.
No. You're supposed to be writing things. You're supposed to be writing things down, you know?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Not guessing, just writing things down. Okay. And the answer is Charlie McCarthy.
Yep.
Who said, "You can come and play in my woodpile anytime." And she says, "I have the splinters to prove it." Okay.
I had it right on the tip of my tongue. Oh, well.
Yeah, right on the tip of your tongue. Charlie
With the
McCarthy.
tip of my pen.
Do you have a wooden tongue?
Yeah, well, maybe. Now, the interesting thing is Charlie McCarthy, of course, was a puppet, but the man who ran him, so to speak, gave him a room in his house. He had, as if it was a son, but of course, it's just a puppet. And the interesting thing is, next lived another person, a human. Who was this human who lived next door the next room to Charlie McCarthy. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the answer is Candace Bergen. Edgar Bergen was the guy who ran Charlie McCarthy, and his daughter was Candy Bergen, who is very much alive. Now, Candy Bergen was an actress. She appeared in a movie playing reporter Margaret Burke White, famous reporter. Can you put down the name of the movie? The name of the movie. Here's a clue. It was about something in India. The name of the movie. And, okay.
Boring.
The answer is Gandhi. Gandhi. Now, if you put down Gandhi at the beginning of this whole thing, 3 points. If you put it down after I said India, 2 points. Now, Gandhi, of course, was a real person. What was Gandhi famous for? What style of protest did he invent that virtually every major protester has used since then? Because it's the most effective when you're fighting other countries or other giant groups of people. And the answer is, you should have written down, nonviolence. Nonviolent demonstrations. 2 points if you wrote that down. Gandhi's full name. Now this is a 3-pointer. Gandhi's full name. And I'll tell you right now, if you put down Mahatma Gandhi is not his name. Mahatma means teacher. That's not his name. What's his real name? His real name was Mohandas K. Gandhi. If you put down Mohandas, 3 points. That's a good one. And was trained for what career? What did he train as? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He was a lawyer. And that kind of makes sense when you think about it, although the way he dressed and everything else, he was a pretty strange lawyer. But he was a lawyer. And in the movie Gandhi, who played the title role of Gandhi? A very well-known actor, has won a bunch of Academy Awards and has been in many, many, many other movies.
How many points for getting the lawyer part right?
Kingsley.
That's 2 points. Let's give yourself 2 points for saying a lawyer.
Tom Hanks.
Okay. In the movie Gandhi, who played the title role? And the answer is Ben Kingsley.
Yeah, I got it.
2 points if you got Ben Kingsley. But there's a 3-pointer coming up. Because somebody came to the director of the movie and complained that in a movie about Gandhi, it should be an Indian actor who should play the role. And of course, I think they're right. And Ben Kingsley's real name is, write it down. And I'll tell you, if you know this is a 3-pointer. Because I bet you not one of you, I'll be amazed if anybody gets this right. Krishna Banji. Krishna Banji is Ben Kingsley's real name. And he was as Indian could be. So that person who was complaining just didn't understand. Okay, we move to another movie star. We're almost done with the movie star parts. April 18th, 1906. What happened on that date? And all of you should know the answer to this. So this is just a 1-pointer. And it's really based on where you live more than anything else. Most of you, some of you, of course, are a long way away. But the whole point is, what happened on that date?
Perhaps an earthquake.
The San Francisco earthquake and fire. Okay.
Yeah.
That was a rather interesting time.
I remember.
And there was one incident that happened, just one incident I want to mention, which is the Academy of Sciences, which was on Market Street at the time, was threatened by the earthquake and fire, most of the fire. And their priceless collection of botany was saved single-handedly by one woman. Do you know her name? And the funny thing is now, you notice at the top it says another movie star. This person was not a movie star, but her name is going to be connected to one. And the answer is, you might have written down,
Gracie Burns.
Alice Eastwood. No, Alice Eastwood.
Kimberly
the movie
Guilfoyle.
star I'm talking about is the great nephew of Alice Eastwood. And the movie star's name? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This should be easy. This is only a one-pointer.
Clint
Eastwood.
Make my day.
Yes. My wife says, make my day. Do you feel lucky?
Yeah.
Punk?
5 bullets.
Do you feel
or
lucky?
6.
I couldn't count.
Next time you hang a man, you better look at him.
Go ahead, make my day.
Exactly. See?
Yeah.
Now, Clint Eastwood once sang in a musical movie. I kid you not. He sang in a movie. And the title of this movie? Write it down. It was also a stage play, by the way. Give you a clue. And the title of both the stage play and the movie was Paint Your Wagon.
Wait a minute.
I really enjoyed this movie. But it
This
didn't
was-
make it.
Steve,
Yeah.
this set aside from another actor who sang in this movie, right?
Oh, we're getting to that. You're ahead of me.
We're gonna get to that. I don't want to go any further.
You're ahead of me.
Okay,
So-
sorry. Okay.
Was he in a
That's all
punk
right.
band?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
punk.
I won't go any
Okay.
further.
Can you name any of the songs that Clint Eastwood sang? He sang 2 major songs in the movie. If you can put down the name of any of these 2 songs, that's at least 2 points and maybe even some extra points, as you'll see.
Hang 'em High?
And you only have to get, 1 or 2 words that are in the title. You don't have to get the entire title, but that kind of thing. It just doesn't have to be complete. And the 2 songs are Alicia and one that actually made it as a song that other people sang. I talk to the trees, but they don't listen to me. And I'm singing about as well as he sang. So he said he would never,
Alicia
ever sing
Keys.
again after this. Now, his male co-star that also sang, or maybe I should say sang, because he kind of spoke his words rather than singing.
Mhm.
And Mr. Belleci was referring to that. Yes, who is this? Mr. Belleci is going to get 2 points because the answer is Lee Marvin.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. Now, Lee Marvin sang a song in this called Wandering Star, which is a great song. It's a wonderful song. And in fact, he does a pretty good version of this. I was born under a wandering star.
Comment.
But my
Steve?
question to you, yes?
Yeah, it was on the pop charts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lee Marvin had a song on the pop charts.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, however, what is a wandering star? What is a wandering star? Do you know what it is? Write down if you know what a wandering star is. There is such a thing.
Amy Winehouse.
And yeah, exactly.
I
You got
know
it.
what it is. I know what it is. So
To write it down.
I'm writing it down right now.
Orion's Belt.
No.
And the ancient Greeks saw that a few stars wandered and gave them a name, which in Greek means wanderer. And what was the name they gave to these wandering stars? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if you put down the word planet, you get 2 points. If you put down planeta, which is the Greek word meaning wanderer, that's 3 points. Okay. Amazing. Now, the Greeks also saw a wide swath of our galaxy, which you see every night if you're not in a city somewhere. And it's really amazing. And you can tell there's a structure to where we are in space. And there's stuff around us. And they called it Galakos, what they saw up there, which is the Greek word for what? And that's where we got the word galaxy, by the way, from this term, Galakos. Mm-hmm. But Galakos doesn't mean group of stars or anything like that. What does it mean? Write it down.
And the answer 1960 galaxy.
Milk. It means milk. They thought that somebody had poured milk in the universe, and that's what they were looking at, is a big swath of milk.
Nothing to do with the Ford Motor Company, right?
Nothing to do with the Ford Motor Company or Borden's Dairy.
Galaxy 500.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. But that was an emo joke that said he and God both drive a galaxy. Okay, so when we look at the Milky Way on a clear night sky, what are we actually looking at? And I heard somebody in the background say this. Where are we in space? What are we doing? And the answer is the arm next to us in the spiral. If you put arm, if you put spiral, that's 2 points for sure. But in fact, what's the name of the arm we are on? Now you should write this down. And this is a 3-pointer for sure. If you wrote down Orion Spur, if you wrote Orion, I'll take that. But Orion Spur is really where we're at in kind of the outer neighborhoods of the Milky Way.
So my previous Orion's belt was correct.
That's correct. Exactly.
No, I've aced it then.
You have.
Mm-hmm.
Write down your score.
I have.
Okay, now we change to animals, the earth science. The largest animal that has ever lived, is it alive today? Yes or no? The largest animal that has ever lived.
Aretha Franklin.
Ooh. Well, she's not alive today, so that would be no then, wouldn't it? So you've written down Y or N, and the answer is yes, it is alive today. And the question, of course, then is what kind of animal is it? And you would write down a whale. Mm-hmm. Yes, you are correct. By the way, each of these would be 1 point. They're pretty easy answers. But now we get to 2 points. Which whale is it? Which specific whale is the largest animal that has ever lived? And you're going to write down some kind of whale. And the answer is a blue whale. And then for 3 points, approximately what weight is the biggest blue whale? How big do they get? They get pretty big. And the answer is 200 tons. Now, if you said hundreds of tons, I'll take that. You know, if it's something in the hundreds, that's 3 points. If you said 200 tons precisely, give yourself 4 points. That's pretty good. Okay. Now, a baby blue whale, when it is suckling, it grows 9 pounds per hour, or is it 9 pounds per day, or is it 9 pounds per week? I'll give you a slight clue. The milk given by the mother blue whale has the highest fat content of any milk on Earth. So which of these is it? And the answer is 9 pounds per hour. If you can believe that. These are all, you know, in the Guinness Book. So what is the Latin name for the blue whale? Oh, well, no, this is definitely 3 points. If you get any part of this correct. And the answer is?
Sperm whale.
This is the Latin name. So it'd be Spermius whaleus, you know?
Spermamus wallalis.
Yeah.
Nomini Pontifex tu Sancto.
Hey, you're getting closer.
It comes scary.
Catholic? It's a Catholic whale?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a Catholic whale, exactly. And the answer is Balanoptera musculus.
Oh.
Balanoptera musculus.
I had an audience with the Holy Father, and he mentioned
I
something.
remember at the end of the service, they'd always face the crowd and say, "Go
And
the
say
asses
Balanoptera
mended."
musculus. Yes,
And you should see the kneeler.
And I know I had the audience with the Pope in Rome last year, so I know.
Hey, you must have had a whale of a time.
I did. The Vatican.
Okay, so who started the Latin naming of plants and animals? Oh, when you went to school, you studied this guy.
Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, well, that's getting close. I only want one name, though. He's known mostly as one name. And it's not Aurelius either. It is Linnaeus. 3 points if you got Linnaeus down. You were paying attention in biology class. Linnaeus played a joke on us. What does musculus mean in Latin? Now, here are your Catholic kids. Come on. What does musculus mean? Anybody know? Write it down. This is also a 3-pointer for sure. Because what musculus means is little mouse.
You would think it'd be like muscular or something, but it's
yeah. You would think it's about muscles.
Yeah, but
no,
it's the total opposite. Yeah, wow.
It means little mouse, and that was the joke. He took the largest creature that has ever lived and called it a little mouse.
Oh, nice.
And the joke continues to this day. So on the other side, what does Balanoptera mean? What's a baleen whale? What's a baleen? Anybody know? You probably do. A filter feeding mouth? You could say, if you put down filter, if you put down strainer, it's that kind of thing. Now, what was baleen used for in the 19th century? They did a lot of whaling. They used every part of the whale for something, and the baleen they used for one specific thing. And I will tell you, it was a fashion accessory. A fashion accessory. And if you put down the word corset, give yourself 3 points. Okay. And they were extremely uncomfortable. Meanwhile, lots of whales have bumps on their heads. And there's a picture of a whale with bumps on its head, as you can see. What are those bumps? Why are they there? If you know the answer, write it down.
Too much candy? They ate too much candy? Sweets? Oil?
It could be. That's a perfectly good answer.
We get some Clearasil. That'll fix it.
Yeah, no. Whaleasil.
Whaleasil.
And the answer is, these are hair follicles.
Wow.
They're hair follicles. Inside each one is a tiny hair. So in fact, Mr. Ruck and I, when we went to Science Friday live here in San Francisco, and one of the people that night was doing research on whale follicles, trying to find out if they have the same parasites that we have in our hair follicles, and she's still trying to figure it out. I thought that was pretty amazing, because this proves the fact that these bumps are on the heads of whales proves that the whales were once what? What were they? What did they start as? 65 million years ago? And the answer is fur-covered land mammals. If you put down fur or something like that, yes, four-legged, fur-covered land mammals.
Does terrestrial mammal count?
Yeah, I would take that. Yeah, that's good. I will take that. And that would be a 2-pointer because it wasn't quite that hard. Okay, now to our universe. Can you see the moon during the day? Yes or no? Can you see the moon during the day? The interesting thing is there was back in the 60s, this one astronomy professor asked this of his astronomy students, thousands of them, can you see the moon during the day? And the vast majority of them said no. When in fact the answer is, yes, you can see the moon during the day. In fact, if you walk out today about 4 o'clock, the moon is right above you today, as it was yesterday. And it's amazing that it's just not very bright. So it doesn't get your attention like it does at night.
Wait,
okay.
How many points? Whoa. How many points?
Yeah, how many points?
1 point?
2 points.
2 points.
2 points for a yes.
Okay.
Okay, now we go to, these are mostly 1-pointers because they're pretty easy. First one, what was Rembrandt's first name? Write it down. And the answer is Rembrandt. 1 point. What was his last name? This might be 2 points. 2 points if you get this one right. Write it down. And the answer is Van Rijn.
Van Rijn?
Rembrandt Van Rijn. Good old Dutch guy. Who painted this? You should know this. World's most famous picture. And the answer is Lenny. Your friend Lenny. Leonardo da Vinci.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 1 point.
1 point.
Who painted this?
Van Gogh.
Pablo Picasso. This is his greatest work, Guernica. I don't know if I'd want it in my house. It's pretty huge.
You know, I should have known the answer to this one because we were in Spain last year visiting the museum.
What is it commemorating?
Mm-hmm. We went to the museum.
It's the bombing. It's during the big start of the just before World War II, when the Franco's forces were bombing the town of Guernica, and this was the suffering of the people and animals in Guernica.
That's why she's looking at the sky and being very, very pained.
Yeah, and this traveled around the world raising money for the war effort on our side. So it has rips and tears and all sorts of things wrong with the painting, which have been repaired because it spent its life traveling around.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where I saw this. I think it was Barcelona or the museum. That's what, because we were both in Madrid and Barcelona.
You got me there.
Yeah, and it's worth a couple dollars.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, worth $2 or $3 for sure.
Yeah.
How many points?
1 point. These are all 1 point.
Yeah.
Who painted this? Yes. This even was turned into a movie.
Van Gogh.
And the answer is Vermeer.
Nope.
Vermeer. Excuse me. Who painted this? Clearly at a different time than Picasso or Vermeer.
Steve Canyon.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
It could be Steve Kenyon, but it's not. This is a painting in a gallery. This is one of his greatest works. This is probably worth a couple of $1 million now.
Yeah, I knew the series, but I didn't realize he actually was the painter or the artist. Wow.
Yeah, and his name is Roy Lichtenstein.
Oh, that's the artist.
Became famous for painting what were cartoons as paint. This is all done by hand, and they're huge. I mean, this is a gallery-sized painting.
Is that spelled the same way as that little, piece of land there near Luxembourg? I don't know, spelling Liechtenstein?
Yeah, like the country of Liechtenstein.
Like the country of Liechtenstein, yeah.
Liechtenstein, yeah. This is a two-pointer. You would really have to know your classical painters to get this one right. If you get this one right, 2 points. And the answer is Fra Lippo Lippi, which maybe you've never even heard of.
No.
But he was very famous in the 1200s.
That's my mother's Italian side of the family are Lippies.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Wow. Serious?
Is that why you're so lippy?
Right. Will you mention what the subject is?
The subject of this painting?
Yes.
I think this is the Annunciation, where the angel is telling the Virgin Mary that she's going to have a kid.
Yep, that's the Annunciation.
And what day do they celebrate that? Is that another
Annunciation Day?
Yeah. Which is what, December? I think it's December 8th, right? I think it is. In the Catholic Church, I think.
Of course, 2,000 years ago, I'm sure it happened on December 8th. Absolutely, positively sure.
It probably happened sometime in July, for all we know.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
And the interesting thing about Fra Lippo Lippi is that he did these amazing colors, which are still vibrant. And he did it by grinding up the blue, for instance, is lapis lazuli that he ground up into a powder and then used it as a paint.
Mm.
And things like that. So the paintings themselves were worth, tons of money because nobody knew how he could possibly do this.
Oh.
How about this painting?
A little abstract. Yeah.
This is a very famous painting. It's in the museum. This would probably go for $100 million if it were sold, or hundreds of millions. And yet this guy couldn't get arrested when he started. And his name was Jackson Pollock. Okay.
How many points are getting it right?
These are all one-pointer unless I say otherwise.
Thank you.
Okay, here's a really cute picture of a baby with a woman and the person who did this. Oh, the person who did this was... A lot of people didn't even consider this person an artist for one very specific reason, and that is that she was a woman. You know who this was?
Women discriminated back then.
Mary Cassatt.
Mary Cassatt.
Mary Cassatt, one of the first great paintings. If you got her that one, that's a two-pointer for sure. 2 points.
That should be a 4-pointer.
Yeah, well, 2 points.
Your show.
But now we come to a very famous picture. Après-midi on le Grand Jet. Afternoon on the island. And this is done pointillist, where the artist point little dots of paint, not brush strokes. There are no brush strokes anywhere here. Points of paint to make this, and this is huge. This is a wall-size painting. Who did this? And yeah, I'd say this is definitely a 2-pointer.
But you could tell, I guess, because of the granular texture or the characteristic, I guess, brings that fact out, right, Steve?
Yeah. It's kind of soft,
granular,
How do you get this? And the answer is Georges Seurat was his name.
Bless you.
George with a sneeze. Gesundheit. Now, I want you to study this picture for a minute because it's very unusual. There's all sorts of unusual things. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
Yeah, like this guy here and this animal over here. And, there's a lot of stuff going on in this painting. So the next one, this is a four-pointer. What is not in that painting? A sailboat, children, a dog, a monkey, an umbrella, an automobile, or a trumpet.
Oh.
Okay, you pick the one.
Trick.
Don't say it.
I'm not.
Just write it down. Which one is not in the painting? And then I'll go back and look at the painting, and if you don't believe me.
I don't know.
Okay.
The trick one.
Kind of a trick one in a way. 987654321. Let's go back.
I wish I had a photographic memory. I don't. Oh, you
have a pornographic memory?
Oh, now I do.
Yeah. And the answer is very clearly no automobiles. Okay. That is what's missing. So if you got that right, 4 points.
Oh, okay.
4 points. Very good. The memory test. Okay. And let's see. I say we have 5 minutes and 37 seconds left before we're done with this whole thing. Okay, here's a dial phone, which you all grew up with. You're all old guys like me. What letters are missing on that dial phone? Write them down.
Z. Oh, God.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is Q and Z. Now, I'd say if you got them both right, 4 points. If you got one of them, 2 points.
That's a giveaway for us engineer geeks.
Hey, Steve, I hate to challenge you on this, but as the resident telephone collector, most telephone dials had Z's on them until about 1950. And
really?
When that phone came out, its dial always had a Z on it.
But never a Q.
But never a Q.
Okay, 4 points for a Q, and forget the Z.
What about O?
There was an O on the phone.
Montrose, yeah.
What did it say under the O?
Okay, good one.
Write that down.
How many points on that one?
Oh, well, let's make this 4 points as well.
Okay. But I lost my 2 points on the Z. Oh, well.
Yeah, you lost 2 points on the Z, but what was under the O?
Okay.
And the answer is OPER. Operator.
Okay. Okay.
What number had no letters under it? Just the number alone. This is a 2-pointer because this is pretty easy. Most people would remember this, I would think. And the answer is the number 1 had no letters under it. Now we go to touch tones and DTMF and all that kind of stuff, except I'm not going to go in that direction, don't worry, because you might know the answer. And you notice there are, 12 buttons here, 3 times 4. And at the bottom are these 2 buttons, and we commonly call them, and they're still there, where they're still on our cell phones, we still push them, and people normally say something and something, and you write that down? And that would be star and pound. It's what most people would say. But that's not their correct definition. That's not their correct definition at all. What's the correct word for that symbol? Write down the correct word for that symbol. This is a 2-pointer now. The first one was a 1-pointer. Star and pound was 1 point. This is now 2 points. And the answer is asterisk. Of course. An asterisk. Okay. But now we come to a 4-pointer. 4-pointer. What is the correct word for the pound sign? There's a word for that, just like asterisk. You know what it is. I'll bet you nobody does. Well, maybe you phone guys might know. Write it down if you know what it is. And the word
All right,
is...
Steve, I'll tell you that I do know what it is.
Okay, then why don't you tell us what it is?
I believe it's an octothorpe.
Whoa, look at that guy.
That I got as well.
That's 4 points. That's the whole point of this whole presentation.
So before you leave that topic, hashtag is the symbol that looks like pound, and people are using hashtag.
Hashtag, yes.
Hashtag. So if you put down hashtag instead of pound, do you get any points?
Yeah, give yourself 2 points.
No, that symbol is the hash. The symbol plus a word is a hashtag.
Yes. Technically speaking, the word is the
hash.
Tag. Yes, that's the hash part.
Yeah.
Not like dimpled Chad.
Okay. We're coming to the end here. I have less than a minute to go. So this is my last couple of questions. This is my last screen. This object in the British Museum, which I have touched, you can walk right up to it and touch it, which I find amazing. Solve the translation of Egyptian hieroglyphs. This is a 2-pointer. Oh, there's my timer. No, don't want to do that. And the answer is the Rosetta Stone. Who read it and deciphered the hieroglyphs? I would say this is probably a 4-pointer for sure.
Campaign?
No. He was one of Napoleon's troops. Who, the funny thing is, he went to Egypt and conquered Egypt with Napoleon. And they said, hey, was this stone that we took out of here that had stuff in different languages? And so he went to England to look at it in the British Museum. He never saw it in Egypt. It had long since gone. And his name is Jean-Francois Champollion. And I think we have now come to the end of our test. So what we need
We're not going to talk about what the Rosetta Stone languages are.
13, 15.
Okay. If we had continued, I would have. And because ancient Greek was known by many people, and even Demotic was fairly well known, that they could use that to figure out what the hieroglyphs meant. And this broke open hieroglyphic writing, which was unreadable until that point.
Same phrases on all 3 languages, or same words.
Same phrase, yeah. And what really broke it open were the cartouches, which have the royal names in them. And they could compare those with the royal names in the other 2 and realized that everything in a cartouche in a circle was a royal name. And that really started the whole ball rolling. So, add up your points, if you will please. Okay, have you all finished adding? Who has more than 20 points? Put your hands up. Who has more than 30 points? Who has more than 40 points? Who has more than 50 points? So, who has 41 or more? Who has 42 or more? Who has 43 or more? 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. Well, I went to 50 and nobody rose to raise their hand. Paul Black, are you the one with 50 points?
More than 50.
More than 50. Wow. Is anybody, now I can't see, I don't know if I can see everybody on my screen here. I'm in gallery view, but did anybody get more than 50 as well? Just speak up. No. Okay. Then we have a winner. Mr. Paul Black is the winner. The smartest guy in SBE 40. And I thank you all for coming. Somebody's calling me on my phone, which I'm not going to answer. So.
Probably a robocall anyway.
Yeah, probably. Yes, exactly. So, any questions on the questions? Anybody didn't believe anything? Was that harder or easier than you thought?
You know, Steve, we should do this again next November. This was fun. I really had a blast.
Well,
Agreed.
thank you very much.
I agree.
Actually, I was going to advise against it.
I guarantee you I wasn't going to run out of questions.
One thing about the telephone, Steve, while you were asking it, I looked over at my desk phone, which is a Panasonic cordless.
Yeah.
The same thing. Number 1 has no letters on there. 0 says OPER. Times haven't changed very much.
Times haven't changed. No, we're still, it's amazing. See, that this is the kind of thing, just to waste 5 minutes or 2 minutes here. September, October, November, December very clearly says 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, octopus has 8 arms, and December and a decade, you know, is 10. But those months are clearly not 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's because the Romans had a 10-month year and it didn't work out very well. So they added 2 months, named after 2 of their leaders, Julius Caesar and Caesar Augustus. That's July and August. They should have put them at the end of the year, in which case 7, 8, 9, 10 would have worked just fine, but they didn't. They put them in the middle of the year. So in fact, Christmas would have been on August 25th. And here we are stuck with these wrong months in the wrong place. And they have been there ever since.
So the 10 month didn't work.
Why not?
10 months didn't work. And people started planting crops too early or too late, or I'm not exactly sure. But
the French had a 10-day week, which nobody liked because it took longer to get a day off.
Yeah, I believe it. And see, there's so many things that we keep using, which were wrong to begin with, and have got even wronger. So,
but the whole idea behind the calendar is based on astronomical events, you know, because 1 month is equal to the orbital period, the sidereal period of the moon around the Earth, and one
and that was 28 days. See, and that's wrong.
Yeah,
that you can't plant by that.
But it's perfect. It's variable. Then
it was a combination of the lunar month and the solar month.
The solar
year. You really knew what day it was. Went to church.
The Earth revolves around the sun. And then,
Right,
of course, and it's off a little bit. That's why they have that leap year.
Right, but there was a mix. In the old days, there was a mix, and you went to church on Sunday to figure out what the next thing was.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I think the Pope also had a way of screwing with our calendar too. But in any event, since Art has wandered off, thank you very much, Steve. Thank you, everybody, doing that. I believe November 2021, our presenter will be Steve Lampen.
November?
November 2021, our presenter will be
our
Steve
Thanksgiving
Lampen.
speaker will be me.
Oh, in
again.
2021.
Let me just reach across the screen and twist your arm, Steve.
Only if he buys lunch.
And we might, hopefully we'll be back at Delancey Street.
1,100 yen.
And we can still do that.
Oh, those were the days, Steve. Those were the days.
I want to thank Steve for putting in the time to come up with all these questions of stuff that I had no clue about. And wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much and be safe and ho, ho, ho. Remember Santa.
Yeah, and I was able to, despite what they said on the media, there are plenty of small turkeys. So just for my wife and myself, we actually found plenty of even Butterball brand 8.5, 9-pound turkeys. They said they were kind of
If
rare.
you go for the Butterball turkey, you can have 30 people over. If you have a Thanksgiving feast, you can only have 6 people over.
Yeah.
So I suggest you kill the Butterball turkey and have a funeral for it.
It's a 9-pounder,
I like that, Charlie.
which is plenty, leftovers and everything. It was fun.
Bye-bye.